welcome to Beyond Tourism. This is actually my first podcast. If this is the first time you're actually listening to this podcast, I want to welcome you. Welcome to Beyond Tourism. My name is Melissa, and I will be your host today. So, if you know by the name of this podcast is actually about tourism, about traveling. So, I am actually super excited to just take a moment, a space for us to talk about the different aspects of traveling, of tourism. And I have a lot of different episodes already planned in my head about what are things that I'm pretty sure each one of you will love to hear a little bit more about. Not only taboos, but also just different things that I feel everyone should know. And there are certain things that we definitely need to discuss. So I hope you are sitting down or just having a great day today, or evening, or night, wherever you are listening. I love getting to know different people around the world. I just love the idea as well that many of you are listening from different countries. Maybe some of these countries I have been to, maybe some of these countries I will be going to. So I am super, super excited to have you here. I appreciate each one of you. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in, to listening, and being open minded to start with this new podcast. So, why is it called Beyond Tourism, and what is actually the main idea of Beyond Tourism podcast? So, let me tell you that Beyond Tourism is actually a podcast based on the idea of going beyond the traditional concept of traveling, whatever that means for you. It is about actually exploring different parts of the world and embracing new travel experiences that are more meaningful, more purposeful as well, authentic, and responsible. This podcast or this space goes further than just discussing and talking about different popular destinations. I mean, yeah, we're going to discuss them, but it's more than that. It's that it gives the space to talk about different aspects of traveling, such as discovering authentic experiences, new experiences that are not always really touristy. Also new ways of traveling. Also a different shift in mindset. I think this is something that nowadays a lot of people are looking for, to have these new authentic experiences or just feel something. Also, I want to talk about budget management. There is many ways to take a trip, many budgets, but I feel that budget is something that we don't take into account as like the first thing, like priority. I think it just comes as part of a trip. But yeah, these are things that we are going to discuss. But also local tips. I'm super excited to bring some local tips from people around the world, but also from my own experience, my own knowledge. And of course, we're also going to be sharing a lot of travel stories. Travel stories that some of them will be positive, definitely, for sure, but some of them will also be a little bit negative. Traveling is not perfect. I think if you are a passionate traveler, as I am, I think you know this already. There is no perfect trip. It doesn't exist. There are amazing trips, amazing experiences, life changing trips, but none of them, believe me, are perfect. Perfectionism doesn't actually exist. Um, so, yeah. Also, we are going to be talking about transformational journeys. I have many, many, many friends, and I know about a lot of transformational journeys, trips, experiences that have changed people people's life and mindset. So I think it's important to also just share a little bit of this. Some people will travel and they will never experience a sort of transformation in their life. Maybe because just they're not open to it, maybe because just it hasn't happened yet. Well, we're gonna be discussing a lot of more things during this podcast episodes. This is the first one, as I just mentioned. So I'm very, very, very excited. But let me tell you a little bit of who I am. Like I just mentioned, my name is Melissa. I am actually born and raised in the Caribbean in a very small island called Aruba. Some of you might know about Aruba. I have heard that a lot of people, I've heard from a lot of people that they promote it a lot in the States. But yeah, if you are not in the States, then maybe you don't know, maybe you do. Aruba is beautiful. It's a very small island. I'm very proud of being from Aruba, from the Caribbean. But I can also say that I have, well, how can I say this? I have different cultural backgrounds as well. I think many of you also, yeah, are the same as me. Both of my parents are actually from Colombia. They're both from South America. One of them, I think, kind of both of them in a way, are from a beautiful city called Medellin. I'm super excited that I might be going back to Medellin, but that's a different story. I love I love traveling. I think you do as well. And besides that, well, if you know or might not know, I'm also a little bit kind of half Dutch by passport, I guess. Aruba belongs to the Netherlands. And also, of course, I've been living here in the Netherlands for almost 5 years now. So I've learned a lot of different things as well. I did my bachelor's as well here in the Netherlands. I am a um, international tourism management professional. Um, I've learned about different things, destination management, how to create value, so many things. And this is kind of why I created this podcast, because maybe some of you know that I have my small business. It's called Bigger Than Us Travels. It's about responsible tourism and nature and cultural heritage preservation and conservation. And besides that, of course, I also have my own travel channel or my own travel account on Instagram and YouTube, which is called Arulatina Travels. Yeah, that name was kind of made up because of, Aruba and then Latin, so Arulatina Travels, where I actually share all my different travels to different destinations. And Bigger Than Us Travels is more about ecotourism. We also offer travel planning as well, but these are more into ecotourism destinations such as Costa Rica, Kenya, Australia, and many more as well. So I just want to tell you that this podcast will be live. I will be uploading, if everything goes right, every single Sunday. So you can count on me to be like your knowledgeable travel friend. So every Sunday, now you know. But today, besides just talking about me, telling you a little bit about this podcast, I want to tell you a little bit of the story. Why did I started a podcast? And why am I kind of here and why are you listening to this? So as you know, this is the first podcast. This is mostly like the introduction. I already planned some other podcasts as well. I am pretty sure you're gonna love it. But the story is actually that I bought the mic. I bought like the whole set. It wasn't that expensive. Maybe some of you don't know me, but I literally just graduated July 2023. So it's been like some months that I am not a student anymore. I was just focusing on this, my business, on Bigger Than Us Travels, on creating partnerships, on trying to raise awareness, getting to know my business, the idea, the mission, everything. But I've noticed that, I don't know if it happens to you, but sometimes we don't feel so comfortable always sharing a video or sharing this perfect story, like on, for example, Instagram. I don't know how old are you, or if in your country you use a lot of Facebook or Instagram, or you are more into like the TikTok world. But I always felt like I want to tell different stories. I want to talk about different topics that maybe I don't have the maybe Instagram is not like the best platform. I hope you can understand. And some of you may say, yeah, but let's do live. You can also do live or YouTube. For me, it was like YouTube. It's kind of easy because you just record. It is planned. You have a script and everything. And with Instagram, yes, of course, you can do live also on Facebook or in TikTok. Even though TikTok, I feel like it's more like fun and and yeah, and Facebook, I don't know. Facebook, it's not like I hate Facebook or anything. I haven't been able to figure out Facebook. So yeah. And on Instagram, I feel like, yeah, going live is not always easy. Maybe for me, I don't know if you relate to this, if you have your own business or if you have your own travel account. I feel like sometimes you just have to kind of prepare to go live, and it's live, so anything can happen. If you have a lot of followers or something, you might receive good comments or bad comments and stuff like that. For me, it was more about, what do I have to say? Why is it important? Like, and do I want people to always see me like all the time? It's not like I fear connection. I love connecting with new people, but I just feel like sometimes we are a little bit more open to hear what other people say when you don't look at them. When you are just like, all your senses are like open, to just what you're hearing. And podcasts are a really great way to connect and to share the stories, to share the information, your knowledge, your opinions. I do wanna say that, take into account that this podcast is based on my own opinions, and we can all have different opinions. Don't forget that. Sometimes that doesn't mean that if we have negative things to say, we should say them. I think it's good to be open and to have non-toxic discussions about something that we don't feel the same way. And this is kind of the way I am doing it. This is kind of the way this podcast is being created. So we can be open to talk about different things, the good things, and of course also maybe some negative things. And maybe even share some different opinions. With that, I also want to say that always feel free to answer any questions that I post, like on podcast, to engage in the conversation or to share if you like this podcast, or maybe things you would love to actually hear about. Of course, some people will listen to this podcast and be like, I don't want to listen to this because maybe they're not open for this conversation about traveling, tourism, and many, many other things. So I don't want to make this introduction super long because it's the first one. And I think there are many, many different things to actually, just like discuss and hear about. But I just wanted to like share a little bit of my story, share a little bit of why podcasts are great. I also actually want to invite you to don't be scared to create your own podcast if you feel the need to do so. Like, I felt like what I was saying, like in Instagram, it was like on Instagram, it was a little bit more difficult for me to share different topics. Yeah, I think some social medias are just like it is expected to always show the good stuff. And of course, people encourage other people to show also like the downsides, like those bad days, as we call them. But I think people are doubting so much if I should post this or if I should not post this, or what do people think about this, or judgments or everything. I mean, listen to my story. I bought the mic. Now I started doing like more reels and creating more content on Instagram because I know I deserve people to listen to me, to actually learn about me, about the things I have to say, to exchange knowledge, which is the most important thing. Learning and learning new things and being open. So if you feel like you also have great things to say and you can make like a positive contribution to the world, to your family, to yourself, to your friends, to whoever like you're thinking about, just start doing it. Start doing the podcast, start doing maybe the project that you're thinking of. Start doing it because you are important. What you have to say is important. Who you are is important, but also your opinions, your ideas, your mindset. So, not to make it a little bit like, not to make it so long anymore, I actually just want to say I hope you appreciate but also understand a little bit of my story, that you feel excited actually to be part of this community. We're just growing slowly but surely, like I say. And yeah, I want to actually invite you to um, just follow and join my accounts, my Bigger Than Us Travels on Instagram, also on Facebook, or go to the website. Or if you feel like ecotourism and yeah, travel plannings and stuff like that, it's not your thing, that's also fine. I also have my personal account if you want to feel a little bit more connected to me, which is Ruratina Travels. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, like that, and also on Facebook. I don't use TikTok a lot. I'm just starting, so if you love TikTok, then go ahead. But yeah. So like I just mentioned before as well, I will be uploading, if everything goes right, every Sunday. So you can count on me to do this. I just wanted to tell you that thank you for listening. Thank you for being here once again, for being part of this. If you actually love what you're hearing, or you're intrigued or excited to hear more, make sure you rate and follow Beyond Tourism podcast. So this podcast here on Spotify, and we see each other on our next podcast episode.